Jeremy le pone 100 y
Y llegó tarde el compañero
a
todavía
Sheridan
poniendo.
le ponemos 90.
¿Por qué?
Por guapo.
Ay, sí.
Me quita puntos.
Bueno, ahí ven el timer,
sí.
¿verdad?
Gracias.
Ok. Ya está.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our debate. My name is Santiago Sheridan, and I will be today's moderator. Today, we will discuss a very important and current question. Should cryptocurrencies replace traditional money systems? This topic is especially relevant in today's world, where digital technology is transforming the way we use and understand money. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum are changing how people think about financial freedom, trust, and regulation. Representing the team in favor, we have Luis Carlos and Fuyuara, who believe cryptocurrencies represent progress, innovation, and independence from traditional systems. Representing the team against, we have Fair and Damian, who believe that traditional money systems are still essential for stability, regulation, and social balance. The debate will have several parts, including opening statements, review tools, counter arguments, moderator questions, and closing remarks. Let's begin. Team in favor, you may start with your opening argument.
Thank you, moderator. I believe cryptocurrencies should replace traditional money because they represent a new fairer financial system. Unlike traditional money, which is controlled by governments and banks, cryptocurrencies are decentralized. This means that no single institution can decide how much money is created or who gets access to it. It gives people more control over their own finances. Cryptocurrencies also run on blockchain technology, which makes transactions public, secure, and almost impossible to alter. This transparency helps reduce corruption and fraud, making the financial system more honest. In countries where inflation is very high or banks are not reliable, such as Venezuela or Argentina, cryptocurrencies give people a way to protect their money and keep their savings safe. For these reasons, I believe cryptocurrencies are not just an innovation, they are a solution to many global financial problems.
Even though cryptocurrencies are an interesting idea, replacing traditional money completely will cause serious problems. One of the biggest issues is volatility. The value of cryptocurrencies can change dramatically in short periods of time. For example, Bitcoin can lose or gain thousands of dollars in just a few hours. This instability makes it unreliable for everyday use, such as paying salaries or buying groceries. Another important point is regulation. Cryptocurrencies are not controlled by governments, which make them effective for illegal activities like money laundering or tax evasion. Traditional financial systems exist to protect people, keep economies stable, and make sure everyone follows the same rules. So, while innovation is important, we should not replace a system that provides safety and trust with one that still has many risks and uncertainties.
It is true that cryptocurrencies are volatile, but they are because they are still not new. As more people start using them and governments begin to regulate, the prices will become more stable over the time. And just like that is what happened with the internet and credit cards when first appeared. Also, traditional finance systems are not perfect. Many banks charge high fees and are slow with international transactions and can even deny access to people who don't don't meet certain requirements. Blockchain technology solves many of these problems by being fast, transparent, accessible to anyone with an internet connection. So instead of rejecting cryptocurrencies because of their challenge, we should focus on how to improve and integrate them responsibility into the economy.
Thank you for your opinion both. That sounds actually really good for cryptocurrency, but I have two opinions that, well, first talking about, we all know there is a huge problem of, we have environmental problems. And as we know, cryptocurrency is something digital, is something that is uses energy. And how do we do energy? We do it with the environment, right? And we have a huge problem there. So, as you may already know, there is a lot of ways to have cryptocurrency. And in this case, I'm gonna talk about mining cryptocurrency. This is a way to get cryptocurrency by using some special graphics processors that search for some accounts that are lost in the network. And that's incredibly a lot of energy that uses those types of mining. And you may be thinking, well, also for normal economy, we are using papers, we are using plastics. Yes, but we are reusing them. You don't throw away a $500 bill, for example, or $100 bill. And here you use your energy, you do a transaction and you already lost, for example, one liter of water that is used to cool the systems of mining. Also, we have another huge problem that is the access to people. Imagine we are in the future. You have your phone, you have your Apple Pay with your cryptocurrency, you have Bitcoin, you have, for example, Ethernet, you have a lot of cryptocurrencies, because you are privileged. But what happened when someone that lives in the mountain comes to the supermarket and they only say, okay, you can only pay with cryptocurrency? There is a problem, because maybe there's people that doesn't have access to internet. So that's another problem. Access and knowledge of how it works, or older people that doesn't know how a phone works, or it will be not so good.
Yes, but I think that you could say the same about, for example, banks. Like, it's another trouble that it's with regular money. Like, I think another strong reason to support cryptocurrencies is like financial independence. Today, people depend on banks to move or save their money, but banks can freeze accounts or limit access during crisis. Cryptocurrencies give people direct control of their assets, like it's you and your crypto, like no intermediary, and without the needing of permission from anyone.
That may be true in some cases, but a world without central banks or regulations will be chaotic. Central banks can control inflation, create jobs through the monetary policy, and also support the economy in times of crisis. Without them, a financial crash could cause a lot of massive suffering to people, and also cryptocurrencies also make it easier for people to avoid taxes or do illegal things, because transactions in these cryptocurrencies can be also anonymous. So instead of bringing fairness, this system could actually make inequality worse by letting the rich and powerful people working without any limits.
But we are not saying that the world should have no regulation. It's like in some countries like Japan and Switzerland, they have clear crypto laws, and they permit like to have all of the program of crypto and all of the things you can do with crypto but they have like laws in the all of it, and you can like search about the laws and look that it is very like regulated, but you can have a, like an independence, like my classmate would say, and it is called like a hybrid financial system. Could combine the transparency of blockchain with the stability of regulated banking, and this approach could protect users, like you say, that people have a lot of accessible knowledge from crypto, and we can protect like promoting innovation, and the goal of this is modernize finance and not get stuck in the same of everything.
Well, that's an excellent idea. The idea of hybrid financial systems sounds great, but there are a lot of risky things that can happen. As we know, digital money, well, it's happening right now. For example, I will give a really quick example. Sunday, Bancomer, BBVA went down, and I couldn't access to my money or transfer or anything, and I was like lost. So this is a problem that we are having right now, and imagine in the future we have half of our money in our bank account, well, in our cryptocity account, and half of our money in like in here in the real world. And what happens if like the system go down, or we go out of energy, like our half of our life savings will go away. And that's not the only problem, but we already know what hacking means, and like just the word hack, we can know what's happening, what will happen if a hacker goes to the cryptocurrency world and takes everyone's money without you knowing, right?
Yes, I could agree with that, but also I think cryptocurrencies makes international transactions much more cheaper and easier and accessible, because it removes the need of like a middleman. Like the transaction is you between the one receiving it, and I think like for example, a business owner in Mexico can do a payment to a supplier in Japan instantly with almost no fees, like, and I think that helps with the global trade and supports entrepreneurship.
And answering your question about if the system goes down, I think that every people doesn't have all of his money in the crypto, in the bank, electronic bank. You have like efectivo
Or
with
distribute.
you or distribute, and you can have a lot of options like in your
With your business.
about how to pay. Like you can have in the box, yes, and or I'm taking 200 to pay this, and the system will be fast, like going up again. Is what happened in Sunday. On Sunday at 11, and it will go back at 4.
I have a question for you. Talking about the original question, should cryptocurrencies replace traditional money systems? How do you think cryptocurrencies can get to the other places where they don't have access to internet or a cell phone, don't have the privilege, same as we can say us, to have a Apple Pay in their phone or use something like cryptocurrencies? How are you gonna get there?
Well, I think the world is adapting to everything very quickly. Yes, and I think at some point we'll get like everyone has access to technology, because it's the future. I think it's the next point in our evolution of technology. and I think it's very little, or well, not very common, the cases where they don't have a cell phone or access to internet.
Okay, well, thank you everyone. Now, let's move to the question section. Let's start with question number 1, to the team in favor. If cryptocurrencies replace real traditional money, how would governments collect taxes or manage economic crises?
That's a very good question, moderator. I think the government could still tax, like by using the blockchain in the transaction of the technology. Every transaction is recorded and has like a code. So tax collection could become faster and more transparent during economic crisis. Government would create their own officially cryptocurrencies to apply monetary policies digitally, like make their own money, but that's crypto, like Bitcoin, but like government.
To the team against. If traditional money requires If traditional money requires dominant, how can we solve the problem of financial exclusion in places where people do not have access to banks?
I think that's a valid concern for this topic. So instead of replacing traditional money, we can modernize it. Governments can promote digital banking, mobile payments, and microfinance projects to reach rural areas. These options are safer, regulated, and already help millions of people without needing to depend on cryptocurrencies. And also, we can see that in rural places, they already have access to physical money, to cash, and they don't have access to cryptocurrencies, as I said before.
Okay, now let's move on to a question for both teams. Is it possible for cryptocurrencies and traditional money to coexist in the future?
Yes, definitely. Both systems can be like a complement of each other and can be used for innovation and international trade, while traditional money keeps stability in local economies. But what my classmate says, like some people don't have the opportunity to have an iPhone, Apple Pay, like that. The traditional money keeps stability, and it's not about replacing one with another. It's about learning how to combine the two and have like a traditional economy, but with cryptocurrencies and things like that.
It's like having the best of both worlds, the best of the this and the best of the other.
I agree that coexistence could happen, but only under strict regulations, and governments must have the last word for people not to abuse or to avoid abuse or cause, because without rules, coexistence could quickly turn into a really big conflict, and we could have a lot of problems.
Okay, thank you, teams, for the questions, for your answers. They were very good. And now we will move on to the team's conclusion. Each team will have 2 minutes total to share their own conclusions, and then at the end we'll close with the closing arguments.
To conclude, I think that cryptocurrencies represent a powerful step forward in the financial world. I think it's the next step in our society. They promote transparency, independence, and inclusion. While challenges exist, like you mentioned, in rural areas, it's more difficult to make them adapt to this new thing. History has shown that new technologies always face resistance before becoming normal.
With proper education and responsibility system, cryptocurrencies can build a fairer and more efficient system that benefits everyone, not just banks or governments. Like we can have both helping to the finance.
To the team in favor, I totally agree. I really like your proposed of idea that we should not replace one with another one, but we should join them. So as we know, cryptocurrency have advantage and disadvantage, and maybe real money also have advantage and disadvantage. So we may use that to join both and make something great. And we should focus in improving the systems on how they work and how they manage as real money as cryptocurrency.
Thank you to both teams for your thoughtful arguments and respectful participation. Today's debate showed that cryptocurrencies bring both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, they offer innovation, freedom, and transparency, but on the other, they raise serious questions about regulation, security, and equality. In the end, the future of our money may not be about replacing one system with the other, but instead about finding a balance. As you mentioned, choosing both the best parts of each other in order to combine the technology with responsibility and innovation with trust. This concludes our debate, and thank you all for your attention.
Thank you both.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you.
Gracias.
Alright, teacher, are you gonna give us some?
Yes.
Which one?